Thanks for joining us on this edition of National Focus. I'm Kimani Sensha. Coming up, Dominica establishes diplomatic relations with the United Arab Emirates. Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit comments on the restoration of U.S.-Cuba relations, and Mas Dominik 2050 is officially launched. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories after this.
If you can believe this,
come by my house and let me show you some movies.
why can't you believe this? Some mothers don't believe their own children when they say they've been sexually abused, and they don't report it. Remember, if anyone asks to see or touch their private parts, touches them inappropriately, shows them or forces them to touch one's private parts, has sex with them, shows them pornographic material, or deliberately lets them hear or see the act of sex, then it is sexual abuse. Believe your child and report the sexual abuse. For more information about child abuse, contact these agencies. This message brought to you by UNICEF and this station.
Thank you for staying with us. Dominica has established diplomatic relations with the United Arab Emirates. This was confirmed on Wednesday by Dominica's ambassador to the United Nations, His Excellency Dr. Vince Henderson.
That is a country that we have been courting for the past 8 years. We have been trying to forge closer ties with them. We have been successful in a few areas, but for the first time we have actually established diplomatic relations with the United Arab Emirates, taking the number of countries with which Dominica has diplomatic relations to 97. And I'm very, very happy about that opportunity because the United Arab Emirates holds great potential for partnership with Dominica in areas of business and also in areas of developmental assistance.
Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says he notes with pleasure the restoration of diplomatic ties between the United States and Cuba. U.S. President Obama, in his address on Wednesday, called for an end to the over 50-year economic embargo against that country.
Today we are making these changes because it is the right thing to do. Today America chooses to cut loose the shackles of the past so as to reach for a better future for the Cuban people, for the American people, for our entire hemisphere, and for the world.
Cuba's President Raul Castro also addressed his country's people following the announcement on Wednesday.
This expression by President Obama deserves the respect and recognition by our own people. I want to thank and recognize the support from the Vatican, and especially from Pope Francis, to the improvement of the relations between Cuba and the United States. Likewise, I want to thank the government of Canada for all the created measures to have high-level discussions among both countries.
Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, a strong advocate for the restoration of the U.S.-Cuba relationship and the lifting of the embargo against Cuba, issued this statement on Wednesday evening.
The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, notes with great pleasure the new policy announcements outlined by U.S. President Barack Obama with respect to our sister Caribbean country of Cuba. While it is the organization's view that the policy changes are long overdue, we nevertheless applaud the announcement by President Obama as a timely first step to correcting, in his own words, and I quote, an outdated approach, end quote, and for over 50 years simply, I quote, hasn't worked, end of quote. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States commends President Obama for the courage and the wisdom which he has shown in announcing the shift in policy. While recognizing that important differences between the United States of America and Cuba will continue to exist for some time, the OECS remains optimistic that the obstacles to the full normalization of relations between the two countries can and will be eliminated. In this regard, The OECS acknowledges that much work still remains to be done and looks forward to this work proceeding on the basis of mutual trust and respect, guided by the aspirations of the peoples of the Americas, whose only wish is for peaceful coexistence, self-determination, self-fulfillment, and the pursuit of peace and happiness.
The U.S. and Cuban presidents agreed on Tuesday on a breakthrough prisoner exchange, the opening of embassies in each other's countries, and an easing of some restrictions on commerce. Dominica's ambassador to the United Nations, His Excellency Dr. Vince Henderson, says this is great news for the region.
The statements and the policy that was articulated by President Obama today is a vindication of the position that Dominica has held for the past several years, and especially for the position of Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, even as recent as the ALBA meeting last weekend in Havana, where Prime Minister Skerrit once again reiterated Dominica's call on the United States to remove the embargo on Cuba and to move towards the normalization of relations with the government and people of Cuba. So indeed today was a historic day. We will all remember this day because it has great significance for our region.
The Discover Dominica Authority presented Mas Dominik 2015 to the Dominican public with the theme C'est la vie nous. An official launching ceremony took place on Wednesday evening at the Fortune Hotel. Giving his very first address after being sworn in as a minister was Senator Robert Tong, the Honorable Minister for Tourism and Urban Renewal.
The government of Dominica recognizes the great value of Carnival and the role it plays in generating much needed foreign exchange, creating jobs for large numbers of people, and bringing about greater social cohesion and unity. Our data reveals in 2014 that there was a 33.8% increase in stayover arrivals for Carnival over 2013. So we are already improving. There were 4,181 persons who stayed for the week leading up to Carnival, which represented 20% of our first quarter visitor arrivals. I also want to thank Mr. Ian Douglas, Honorable Ian Douglas, for all the work and the foundation that he's set before, and his promise to hold my hand and guide me to help take the Ministry of Tourism, which includes World Creole Music Festival, it includes Carnival, and also jazz, and I'm also sure that there'll be a lot more that we will begin to push forward.
The Honorable Minister for Culture, Sports, Youth and Constituency Empowerment, Justina Charles, says that Dominicans should embrace their culture and make Mas Dominik 2015 a successful one.
The theme for the Real Mas 2015 is C'est la vie nous. It behoves us then to embrace our cultural tradition, take control of our lives, live responsibly, build on the positive events around us. C'est la vie nous instructs us to work as a collective. It's not c'est la vie moi, c'est la vie nous. Not for our own selfish ambitions. We must think of the negative impact that our action can bring to bear on us as a country. Our carnival product must be seen as promoting unity, love, peace, understanding, forgiveness, freedom of expression and exploration, and creativity. It must be seen as promoting economic activity, enhancing our tourism product, and marketing our nature eye.
Mas Dominik 2015 has the support from Government of Dominica as well as Lime Dominica, who is the platinum sponsor. The street parades will be held on February 16 and 17, 2015, while the Miss Dominica pageant will be held on February 6, 2015. In more news, the Ministry of Agriculture, in an effort to diversify the sector, continues to promote the cultivation of white potatoes. The potato seedlings were shipped in last week, and this initiative has been regarded as an ideal opportunity for crop expansion. GIS News spoke to Austin Bell, team leader of the South Agriculture Region, on Wednesday.
What the Ministry of Agriculture is trying to do is in terms of diversification, because of the lull of the banana industry. There's an attempt to fill in the void, and Irish potatoes can really play a very vital role because it's a very good cash crop. It is a crop that would be ready within 3 months, and particularly in the southern part of the island, where the soils are quite good.
Dominican farmers are being encouraged to grow potatoes in large quantities.
We are encouraging the farmers to plant as much as possible, particularly in areas like Belvis-Chope, Girodel, and we are also looking at other parts of the island. So we are looking at the northeastern area and the central part of the island. We are hoping that this crop can grow, because we would want many other regions of the island to plant this crop.
In other news, 200 joyous boys and girls received Christmas cheer compliments the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association. The holiday gift program was designed to reach out to FCCA's partners in the Caribbean by providing holiday gifts to underprivileged children. This year, gift items were presented by captain and crew aboard the MV Celebrity Equinox and distributed at a ceremony held at the Public Service Union building on Thursday morning.
And this program every year is extremely important to us because, as we know, Christmas is a time for giving and it's a time to spread the cheer. And indeed, one of the things that I know the FCCA is seeking to do, and through the various ships that call into Dominica, is to ensure that every child that they can reach to would also have a very happy and Merry Christmas. And in doing so, they have done and they are presenting to you today gifts so that you can enjoy yourself for Christmas. And especially those of you who may not have had the opportunity to be able to get one, they are making it possible for you today.
In 2013, over 30 destinations participated in the program, with over 7,000 children receiving holiday gifts. Dominica's new Minister for Health and the Environment, Dr. Kenneth Daru, says he is humbled by the opportunity to serve in the new capacity. Dr. Daru was speaking with GIS News following his first assignment at the President's recent tour of the Princess Margaret Hospital. The Honorable Minister discussed with GIS plans on the cards for 2015, particularly the construction of the new hospital.
Next year, the new hospital is on the cards to be built, and I'm really looking forward to this with great excitement to see how we could give it guidance. And as I said, not just the infrastructure, the beautiful new infrastructure, because an infrastructure without the trained personnel and human resources to go along with it would be practically useless. So we are in the process, of course, having to do a serious inventory of our medical stock, both doctors and specialized nurses and technicians, etc. Because to man and operate this new hospital, we would like to, it would be a shame to see that we build a brand new hospital and we're having to recruit people from overseas to come to work here for us. So this is also going to be taken into consideration. I'm well aware that it's a lot of work. The health system, as I said, the health sector is at a crossroads. It can be said at crossroads. New and exciting programs on the card, and also bringing across the environment portfolio, which I think I also appreciated that move on behalf of the leadership of the government to bring along the environmental portfolio, because we would have done some wonderful work there in my last term, and to see how we can tap into some of these millions of dollars out there, climate change and sustainable development.
He indicated that primary healthcare services remains a priority to his administration.
Not forgetting our primary healthcare facilities, our health centers along the island. Sometimes in the excitement, there's people that get forgotten. They don't really get a lot of attention because mostly everything is focused on the hospital and secondary healthcare. But I worked as a primary healthcare doctor, a district medical officer, and most times we are the front line in a number of the situation emergencies. I mean, just recently during the election campaign, I found myself having to take off my politician cap at the Castle Health Center, spend a number of hours helping out with the casualties of the accident. So a lot of times the primary healthcare workers are the front line in the providing healthcare. So I think they also need a lot of attention, a lot of improvement to the primary healthcare facilities, the infrastructure.
The Honorable Health and Environment Minister also expressed confidence in his ability to successfully execute his duties.
I think the fact that as a trained health professional myself, a medical doctor by profession, People expect a lot, the Dominican public expect a lot out of me. But I think after having served the first 5 years as a parliamentarian and also Minister of Government, would have given me the tools, the necessary requisite tools and skills and competence to really try to take the health sector forward. And I'm very humbled by this position, and I know I work in a lot of you would have seen maybe my closeness with a number of the staff at the PMH. I worked there for a number of years, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to meet at least most of the expectation, or at least put my all into it. I'm not somebody who really like to promise things, or promise that I'm going to make everybody problems or issues disappear. But what I can promise to them is that I try my best to make sure that we can address each of the issues, the problems in as practical way as possible, because we would be aware of our struggle in small island economies. Of course, the restraining factor would always be the financial resources. But as I said, that's why I said in my address, as much as it's physically or feasibly possible or practically possible, that I will try to address and make sure that we have a very happy and working health staff. Yeah.
The Honorable Dr. Darius says that his ministry is cognizant of the challenges facing the health sector, but is confident that through the effective implementation of health initiatives, the Dominica Labour Party administration can achieve its goals. And before we go, here are a few announcements. The government of the Commonwealth of Dominica has received financing from the Global Environment Facility through the United Nations Environment Programme to support the preparation of Dominica's third national communications to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. Part of this funding is to be utilized to hire national consultants to undertake technical studies and draft the national report. The government of Dominica is seeking expressions of interest from suitably qualified national consultants who have at least 5 years' experience in the following areas: greenhouse gas inventory from energy, transportation, solid waste and industrial processes, inventory of carbon sinks, forests, inventory of carbon sinks, agriculture, climate change mitigation including renewable energy, energy efficiency and energy conservation, mainstreaming climate change into national development planning, training, public education, outreach on climate change, systematic observation systems for climate change including hydrometeorological systems. Work on this project will commence in January 2015 and will be completed by May 2016. Successful applicants will be expected to start work on or before February 2nd, 2015. Any persons interested in being considered for any of the above positions are requested to submit their current curriculum vitae and letter of interest to the following: Director, Environmental Coordinating Unit, Roseau Fisheries Complex, Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard, Roseau, Commonwealth of Dominica. Telephone 767-266-5256 or fax 767-448-4577. Email ecu@dominica.gov.dm. Submissions can be made or can be submitted electronically or in writing to the above address and must be received no later than Wednesday, January 7th, 2015 at 4 p.m. Expressions of interest received after this date will not be considered. Private candidates registered to write the January 2015 CXC examinations are asked to collect their timetables from the local registrar's office during normal office hours. Please be guided accordingly. All persons who are required to pay liquor and store licenses in the La Plaine area, including Delis, Boitica, Grand Fond, and surrounding villages, are notified that revenue officers will be present at the La Plaine police station on Monday, December 29th, 2014, to collect payment for licenses from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And finally, poultry farmers and those engaged in rearing broilers, layers, and turkeys are asked to attend a meeting on Tuesday, 23rd December from 10 a.m. at the Roseau Fisheries Complex Conference Room on the Bayfront to discuss matters affecting the national poultry industry. The Chief Veterinarian and staff of the Livestock Development Unit of the Division of Agriculture will be present to provide information and address concerns and matters arising.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson Luce. Premièrement, je parle pour Tissavan et puis ministre de Santé, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, car oui, merci moun wansala pour support à Yobay pendant la dernière élection. Honorable Darrow aussi fait parole qui travaille bien formidable pour avancer ministre de Santé.
Premièrement, je voulais remercier bon Dieu pour santé avec la vie et pour vivre. Pour survivre en lot election campaign, moi en bonne santé, c'est un bon signe. Secondly, je voudrais remercier tous ces gens, ces supporters, ces residents de P7 constituency, Hot Belleville, Chopin, pour Belgique, Tissavan. Because pour moi, je tenais pour voter pour me faire un parliamentarian et après appointment Minister of Health. Et comme on dit, comme un docteur pour comme une année. Expectation là c'est des monde à haut et ça m'a promis ces monde que moi qui essayer pour faire primaire qui me voulait comme travailler un système pour détourner moi ça avant toutes ces issues là qui toutes ces challenges là qui nous un système et moi qui mettre en primaire pour moi forward pour comment ça adresser ces bits ça là.
Ministre Darrow mentionné primary healthcare system aussi.
Nous avons un primary healthcare system, nous avons une structure primary healthcare system qui a reçu accolés tout le monde la terre. Mais nous avons des 3 années que le système a détérioré. Donc, nous avons commencé à essayer pour build avec ça, nous avons mis en place ensemble ces health centers là, tout un pays qui a besoin d'assistance, qui a besoin d'upgrader, nous avons besoin de faire ça. Parce que comme on dit, oui, l'hôpital neuf là, bon, mais c'est mon premier health care là, dans ce health center là, dans ce village là, c'est eux qui autrefois, c'est eux qui premier line of defense là, pour éduquer les gens, pour prévenir des diseases avec ces bêtises là. So, premier health care system, secteur aussi a besoin d'attention. So, toutes ces bêtises là, mon cas, comment après Noël là, moi j'ai commencé le travail, mais pour un petit moment, la famille pour Noël là, avec on a 9 là ouvert pour commencer le travail.
En autre nouvelle, membre parlement pour Saint-Jean, Honorable Kelva Darrow, car oui, merci mon constituency pour support en dernière élection. Honorable Darrow aussi mentionné un des projets qui pour prendre place en termes de 9 salaires.
Je voulais dire merci pour tout le monde de Saint-Jean constituency qui vote par moi. Et je veux dire merci encore. Et en termes de ça, ça nous a fait en constituency Saint-Jean, nous avons fait travail pour les gens, pour single mothers, et puis c'est less fortunate, les gens qui passent à fonder en caille. Nous avons fait travail dans les chimères là, toutes chimères pour accès pour femmes en constituency là. Nous avons fait project Bells, et actuellement, nous avons un water project là qui est ongoing. Nous pouvons assister ces femmes-là, bio inputs et puis fertilizer, pour faire éducation en priorité pour ces enfants-là. Et bien, nous devons ensure que tous les enfants sont à l'école. Ça, c'est une priorité par moi, par rep. Et puis, ces fishermen-là, nous pouvons avoir assistance. C'est beaucoup qui ont touché un small business. C'est gens qui ont un small business, nous pouvons continuer pour one day. Et bien, constituency, c'est un diverse constituency. Et puis, le tourisme, c'est un gros bagage en Miro. Et nous faisons un gros bagage en Layo et puis en Bells, tourisme, ça là. Et puis, c'est tous ces plans nous pour constituency Saint-Jean.
En d'autres nouvelles, Président Dominic, His Excellency Charles Sovereign, ensemble et puis Ministre de Santé, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, et d'autres officiers gouvernement visité l'hôpital Princess Margaret en ayant 6 semaines avant Noël. Le gouvernement Dominique a recognisé l'importance de ne pas oublier les gens qui sont malades en temps de là. Pour la deuxième fois, His Excellency Sovereign Koussala visité 7 wards l'hôpital Princess Margaret McPherson. Torsala aussi voit une petite cérémonie où la His Excellency Sovereign sollicité le monde pour garder devant l'année prochaine pour bagaille en secteur santé. En même temps aussi, ministre de Santé, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, qui a gardé devant pour initiative 9, aussi pour continuer objectif pour faciliter le secteur santé tout le pays. Ministre Darrow aussi recognisé support People's Republic of China, Cuba et Venezuela, ensemble et puis support travailler ministre là pour dédication à eux. plaisir travailler et ça qui est aussi recevoué l'honneur. Et puis finalement, plusieurs enfants tout Dominique bénéficient de cadeau Noël FCC et Jardin. Programme ça là, K1 Service, Jeutin Noël, bas enfants tous les l'année. Discover Dominic Authority Bonché et puis Child Fund Caribbean pour programme ça là. M. Benoit Baldwin, c'est chef officier Discover Dominic Authority.
Aujourd'hui, nous avons plusieurs enfants qui viennent pour nous savoir un cadeau pour Noël. Cadeau ça, c'est qu'a sorti de Florida Caribbean Cruise Association. Et puis c'est un bateau à cruise Equinox qui a mené ça à ses enfants. Chaque année, on a fait ça. Et puis c'est un plaisir pour nous, Dominique, ça recevoir ces bitins ça. Nous avons mené pour ces petits enfants qui patinent en rien. Nous avons essayé comme que ces enfants tapent un cadeau pour Noël. Et puis, c'est on jette nous pour chaque année pour mener ces enfants ici pour nous sabayer un cadeau.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Qu'à tout le monde, un bon saison Noël. Au revoir.
Coming up, tips on how you can keep your New Year's resolution.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water, think life.
A new year often feels like a fresh start, a great opportunity to eliminate bad habits and establish new routines. Unfortunately, resolutions are much easier to make than to keep, and by the end of January, many of us have abandoned our resolve and settled back into our old patterns. Here are some tips to help you keep your New Year's resolutions. Tip 1. Choose a specific, realistic goal. Instead of selecting an ambiguous goal, focus on something more concrete that you can realistically set your sights on. Tip 2. Pick just one resolution. Pick just one and focus your energies on it rather than spreading yourself too thin among a number of different objectives. And tip 3. Don't wait until New Year's Eve. It is suggested that you spend some time planning out how you will tackle a major behavioral change. You can start by writing down your goal, making a list of things you might do to achieve that goal, and noting any obstacles that might stand in your way. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow us on Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I'm Kimani. Thank you so much for watching.